Hey guys, welcome to my Pincha tutorial and intensive breakdown. Hope you enjoy and let's get started. Guys, welcome to a 30-minute intensive on Pincha or forearm stand. In this practice, we'll be needing a strap or maybe just a long sock and a block and some space to move around in, make sure you don't knock anything over. There's a lot of different things that come into play when trying to practice Pincha. For example, the balance of flexibility and strength and mobility in the shoulders and our ability to stack. So we'll go over all of those things and do a really good warm-up to get you prepared and ready to kick up into Pincha. We'll start by warming up the shoulders and doing a little movement here with cat-cow, but sending the focus toward the front of the chest and the backs of the shoulders, just trying to really squeeze the shoulder blades together, engage, exhale, stretch. Do 5 to 6 more breaths of this. And then we'll walk our hands forward for puppy pose. This is really important in Pincha to get our shoulders open enough to be able to stack our hips over our shoulders. So really engage through the legs, lift the tailbone, press the heart down. Inhale, come back up, come to plank. And we'll start dropping one elbow, then the opposite elbow, and then come back up the same way. So if you drop the left elbow down, then drop the right, then plant the left hand, plant the right. And then do the opposite. So drop the right elbow, then the left, plant the right hand, then the left. This is really waking up our shoulders, making sure that we have proper engagement and activation. Now we'll work on the second part that comes into Pincha, which is our legs. So step the left leg forward into low lunge. Whenever you're ready, take a easy stance, maybe hands on knee, hands to heart. And then sit the hips back for half splits. And then take the bend in that left knee again, hands to heart. Reach back for that right foot, then try it, bring it towards our bum. And exhale, release, plant the hands down, downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels. And step the right leg forward, low lunge on the right side. Again, easy stance here. Exhale, sit the hips back, half monkey on the right. Flex the toes high. And inhale, bring the bend back in, low lunge. Reach back with the left hand. See if you can grab your foot into your hand. Exhale, release. Come to a comfortable seated position, whether that be crisscross or seated on the ankles. And take whatever kind of strap you have on hand, whether that be a sock or a real strap, doesn't matter. We're going to inhale, lift our arms high, and then see how open we can get our shoulders. So we're engaging our shoulders up and then out. And then at a certain point, we can release a little bit more, so making our arms wider. And then maybe our shoulders rotate all the way. We come down, and then inhale, come back up, engage up. So we're just really pressing up and then rotating out to the side. So see how many times you can do that to feel comfortable. Then maybe shorten your stance or the distance between your hands and see if you can rotate with it a little bit tighter. And we'll do 5 to 10 more of these on your own breath at your own time. Sending activation and breath to the shoulders. Super aware of our joints here. And then whenever you're ready, just release your strap or your sock and then shake out your arms from side to side. This will all make sense once we go into Pincha, I promise. And then we'll take our strap, and what we're gonna do is grab it with the right hand, or just kidding, we're gonna grab it with the left hand. Grab it with the left hand, reach up, and then let it hang back behind us. See if we can reach the end of that strap. And then bend your elbow as much as you can. Grab as high on the strap as you can. And then inhale, you're going to start to straighten both arms. So when you're pulling with your right hand, you're opening up your left shoulder. You can keep a slight bend in the top arm. And then maybe your hand comes toward the ground a little bit more. Maybe you just rock back and forth a little bit. And exhale, slowly release. And we'll switch sides. So we'll take it in the right hand. Left arm reaches back behind. We'll turn a little bit so you can see a little bit from a different angle. Grab as high as you can on the strap. And then start to straighten both arms. And exhale, release. So we're gonna go into puppy pose one more time to really open the shoulders up. Here's where your block can come in handy. So if your chin and your chest already touch the ground in puppy pose, this is a good option for you. You can put your block down and walk out the hands, just measure where your chin is going to rest. And this opens up through your throat, your sternum a little bit more. And as always, you don't have to do that, just an option for anyone who wants to try. And inhale, come back up, plant the hands down. We'll get into Dolphin, which is our preparation pose. And I'll be explaining 2 key things that you really need to practice and get warmed up in before you enter and actually balance in Pincha. So, setting up for Dolphin, grab the elbows, that's your shoulder distance. Release the hands. Either you can take your palms together or hands down. Your hands tend to splay and go in toward each other, so you can use a block. Depending on your shoulder distance, you can switch your block around. And then inhale, lift the hips up. So just by looking at Dolphin pose and then moving toward Pincha, what you really need to practice is lengthening the backs of the legs. So this means splits. And I know it's a little daunting, but splits on both sides will really help your legs become a little bit longer, more flexible, so you can get your hips in a situation where they're already over your shoulders. This way, you can lift one leg, do a tiny hop, and be able to get right up into Pincha. Otherwise, if your legs are super stiff, maybe you can't even straighten them, you're gonna have a lot more power and momentum to get your hips over. So, say my legs are pretty tight, this is where I'm starting. So, it's already harder. That was much more difficult. So if you can set yourself up to where you're almost already stacking, you're gonna have way less effort to get into Pincha. So getting back into a regular dolphin, we'll talk about the second thing that is really important in Pincha, which is shoulder flexibility and openness. So say my shoulders are super tight, and this means that when I'm opening up my shoulders, I can't open all the way. I'm super strong and I'm tough and I'm tight. So if we don't stretch through the shoulders, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start out in kind of a zigzag. So we're starting out really tight. Our shoulders are over our elbows. Once we get our hips up and over, and if we're trying to kick up into Pincha, it's kind of a weird line of balance, and it's really hard to hold. Most of the time, you're really muscling it when you're trying to hold it like that. So, with the stretches that we did with our strap, poses like puppy pose, and holding dolphin and opening up through the chest, you'll be able to lengthen through the backs of the legs here and get really open in the shoulders. So once you get into practicing more splits and more open heart postures like wheel and puppy pose, you'll be able to really set yourself up for a straight line and a really good stack. This will also help you in poses like handstand or other arm balances as well. So we'll set up for Pincha. Getting ready to kick up, we'll exhale, lift the knees, walk the toes as far over as you can without making your shoulders go over your elbows. So try and keep your shoulders directly over the elbows, stacked. And then inhale, reach one leg as high as you can. Again, practicing splits, you'll be able to get this leg way higher, and you'll be able to even just like lift off rather than jump. So say you go up a little bit, take a really deep bend in that right knee. Inhale, come up, tuck that right knee into the chest so that it stays engaged. And then you can find a moment of balance, jack the hips over the shoulders. You can also play around with stagging the legs, which is a little bit more of a back bend. I don't love to teach it this way because it gets you in the habit of using your legs to balance rather than your core in the stack. So I'll show you that. And you can inhale, lift one leg high, walk the toe as far forward as you can, and then take a bend in that knee. Inhale, jump up. So it's a lot of, you'll see if you watch, it's a lot of movement between straightening and bending either leg that kind of help you balance and teeter-totter from your line of balance. But my recommendation is to keep that kicking leg tucked in, engaged, and then once you find balance, you can then send it up straight with the other leg. So we'll practice that a little bit more. And make sure you jump up on either side, balance out the body. So inhale, lift the opposite leg. And take a bend in the other leg, kick up, keep it straight, engaged. If you find a moment of balance, maybe you can take the legs together. Take a few moments to just practice kicking up, seeing what it feels like. Maybe you do it with a block this time or without. Remember, shoulders over the elbows. The goal is to get the hips as close to over the shoulders as possible. And then exhale, we'll go into child's pose and just let our body rest for a few breaths. And inhale, look to the hands. We'll move toward working on splits. And we'll take the right leg forward into just a low lunge to start. And then walk the back toes back as far as you can. Keep your block handy. And slowly start to tiptoe the right toes forward. Hips are squared. Now, you have a few options here. You can stay here with the arms supporting the rest of the body, or you can take a block or a pillow in any of the different sides and just set that underneath the right hip. See if you can find some ease here. Then maybe you switch to a shorter side, go a little bit deeper. Inhale, come back up with the hands. Release the block. Maybe you go a little bit deeper. And then slowly heel toe that front foot back. And then take that bend back into low lunge. Plant the hands down, tuck the toe in the back. Step back to plank. And then step the left leg forward, preparing for splits on the opposite side. Block or pillow handy. Hands down and then heel toe that front leg out. Hips are squared. Change the height of the block or as many pillows that are under that left hip. Go a little bit deeper. Inhale, walk the hands back up, release the block or pillow. Take a bend in that left knee and bring it up into low lunge again. Plant the hands down, step back, and drop the knees into a comfortable seated position. Again, the longer you hold and practice splits, the more easy it's going to be to get those hips over the shoulders, and you're going to be able to float up or kick up with a lot less effort. And we're going to do one more pose that I think is really, really good to practice besides puppy pose or the shoulder opening that we did. And this is wheel pose. So we'll get prepared just by laying back all the way on our mat. And you can practice planting the hands down near the hips, lift the hips high. If your shoulders are really tight, this is a good one to start with. Just bridge. You can play around with lifting one leg and then the other. And exhale, drop the hips down. You can practice that a few times, but I'll move right into showing you how to set up for a really good wheel. So feet are in line with the hips. Fingertips are gonna point backward toward the shoulders. If your wrists are super tight here, you can go up with either a inclined block so that your wrists are at an advantage. You can also just stretch and take some time to focus on the wrist before you do this. So fingertips facing back, plant the palms down, exhale, prepare. Strong inhale, lift up, press up with the arms. Now here, a lot of times we can want to just walk the feet up to the head and be like, ooh, wheel. But we want to move the bend from our low and mid back to the upper. So we're going to use the strength of our legs to straighten the bottom half of us, really tuck the tailbone, and then bring the bend into the shoulders, the upper spine. Breathe. It should feel a lot like puppy pose, at least in the upper half of the body. And exhale, slowly come back down. You can practice that a few times and take your time in really focusing that bend to go up into the shoulders. And I hope all of those tips and demonstrations really helped you with understanding how to stack and properly get up into Pincha. And happy practicing, guys. I love you. Namaste.